Oh, sorry about that. I got cut off because I ran out of room on my phone. But anyway, we were talking about the Boy album, and so they're 4 years into their career, um, and I remember a story I read somewhere where Bono would come back after working on the record, and his dad would be like, "You're still working on that thing?" Like, it took a few months to finish it, and they went for a quality record, their first record, and so we stopped it Out of Control, and then there was into the heart of a child I can smile. There's Out of Control, which was of course about just being a certain age and feeling like anything could happen, you could die, whatever. Out of Control. There's Stories for Boys. There's The Ocean Picture in Gray, Dorian Gray, which a lot of times on that first tour they would, I think they opened and closed with, I'm pretty sure. Because I had a bootleg of the 1981 tour in Boston, which was all. That's why I got to know that record really well from that bootleg more than the actual record. They had a bootleg of a show in Boston that they played with Mission of Burma and La Peste. I'm actually just talking from memory of listening to the bootleg where Bono was like, "Oh, okay," thinking the opening bands and all that, and he said something about I like America because the bands are more friendly to each other. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember the exact thing, but I remember listening to this bootleg record. And then besides The Ocean, there was also A Day Without Me, Another Time, Another Place, Electrica, which was one of their most famous from that record, and Shadows and Tall Trees, of course, one of my favorites. And I just think it's a great record. A very good. I mean, these guys were all like 20 years old when they made it. I mean, it's just a masterful record if you think about it. There was a lot of non-standard, different kind of production techniques like smash bottles, the knife against the bicycle wheel, which I think was revisited in Mothers of the Disappeared. In fact, the first time I heard about that was Mothers of the Disappeared. In Joshua Tree. So anyway, so Lillywhite liked working with them, and so he recorded the next couple of records. He did October and War. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. So he did their first three records. So it was received pretty positively. It started getting airplay in the U.S. and especially I Will Follow. And so that's how they were able to start touring the U.S. They played quite a few dates in the U.S. And so when they and then they were writing the second record. Bono was writing the lyrics for them, and I believe in Portland he lost his journal that had the lyrics, right? So when they went to record October, their second record, he kind of had to start from scratch. So that's why it's got that really raw vibe. October is I mean, it's one of my favorite records, and it's probably one of their least popular records, but I really like it because I think of it as a sort of a cornerstone record, a record that's kind of like forgotten about, but that it's really powerful. And I think part of the reason I like it so much, I really like the sound. It's got this sort of raw, punky, sort of basement or warehouse sound, a lot of echoey kind of vibe. But I really like the music on it too. I mean, it's just like Tomorrow, the song Tomorrow about Bono's mother. It's got these like pipes on it, and it just sounds great, I think. Scarlet, of course, Rejoice, I like the whole record. It's one of those records where I just really like the whole thing. And it's probably my favorite record. The reason why it became my favorite record was because I didn't hear it until 96. So I didn't hear it until about 15 years after it was made. And basically, up until then, I knew all of their work except that record. And my older brother, happened to have the cassette somehow. And I think he had left it behind when he went to college. And so I kind of snagged it. And I used to like to, when I got my first car, it had like a cassette thing where I would listen to it a lot, I remember listening to that, Patti Smith's Horses, but really listening to October a lot. And it was a very inspiring record for me personally. And I don't know, just like I had the US Festival video of them doing that. I think it was 1982. So it was all songs from Boy in October. And whoa, that was a really good performance. I'm not sure if they might have done some songs that they were working on for War, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up because I haven't seen that in a while. But the Gloria version was really cool. I Fall Down, Through a Brick with Her Window, Rejoice, Fire, Tomorrow, October, With a Shout, Jerusalem, Stranger in a Strange Land, Scarlet, Is That All? It just shows you can just kind of go in making a record and sort of go off the cuff and make something that is different. It might even be better than if he had gone in there with all of his lyrics. And the funny thing is, I think that might have sort of influenced him because in the documentary for Unforgettable Fire, he talks about going into the studio and not having the songs fully formed. That you have to leave a little bit for improvisation, If I just come in with the full song, where, I don't know exactly what he said, but if you watch that documentary about the making of Unforgettable Fire, there is something about that. So, anyway, so Steve Lillywhite, his last record of the 80s with them was War. So, of course, which sort of catapulted them from sort of like just playing like smaller theaters to, being a lot bigger, especially with the popularity of Sunday Bloody Sunday and and New Year's Day, of course. My favorite song on there is Like a Song, and I think it's like the most underrated song on that record. I think it's a beautiful song, and I think it could have been a single, but a lot of times I like songs that aren't necessarily the single. There's a lot of good songs on that record, and I actually recently rebought the CD, and I'd been listening to it, and I really got into like The Refugee, Two Hearts Beat as One, Red Light, the second Surrender, the second side, which sometimes gets overlooked because it doesn't have all the hits that this first side had. And of course 40 is classic. The first side has like Sunday Bloody Sunday, Seconds, New Year's Day. Of course, Seconds is actually a song that I love. And supposedly what I've heard is that's the Edge singing on Seconds, which is really strange to me because it sounds I guess it's the Edge who he just sings the first two stanzas. But I think that there's a parts of the song that Edge sings that I always thought was Bono, and I think I got in an argument with somebody about that once, but I was wrong. So yeah, it's the first song in U2's history where it's not just sung by Bono, And it's that whole, takes a second to say goodbye. You got to kind of appreciate what you got here, right? And it's got a little sample from the documentary film Soldier Girls, and Bono had been watching that while he was in the green room at Windmill Lane. So I don't know. It just seemed to go really good with the sentiment of the song, and it was it's a great song, I think. But Like a Song is my favorite from that record. And so, of course, they toured this record a lot, and they did the Live at Red Rocks, which was amazing, Under Blood Red Sky. That is an amazing record for me. So Under Blood Red Sky was, the live show at Red Rocks with U2, and it was recorded on June 5th, 1983. So that was, wow. Now it's been, 41 years. Wow. That is crazy that it was that long ago. So it was in Colorado, at the Red Rocks Amphitheater, and so many good moments on that record, and some songs that weren't even on any records, like Party Girl. I know a girl called Party Girl. Yeah, I guess the Divinyls were supposed to open up for them in The Alarm, but there was some kind of there's bad weather, I guess. So anyway, it was kind of a disaster because there was all this really bad rain and fog, and who would have known that in June 5th you'd have all these weather issues, right? So anyway, they did the show, and it just turned out really great, and that was like one of my favorite records growing up, and it had so many great songs, and it had Surrender Second, Sunny Bloody Sunday, Electrico, October. Well, actually, October was that? I don't know if that was on the release I had. Anyway, it had a lot of really good songs on it, and but anyway, so that was a great record, and then that's wraps up that first half of the 1980s. Well, actually, Unforgettable Fire was recorded in 84, so I shouldn't say that. Unforgettable Fire, first record recorded with Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois as a team, and incredible record, released August 1st, 1984. They kind of wanted to go a different direction, and it was more ambient, more experimental. Recorded in Slane Castle, where they kind of stayed there. So they started recording in like early May '84, and they were there for a few months. So they got those. There's that really good documentary about it you can find on YouTube. I was actually at Academy of Art in 1998, and in the film library I found that video, and that's how I knew about that documentary. I used to watch that. I used to watch the Where the Streets Have No Name video over and over again. I used to watch Rattle Hum over and over again. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, so that record had Bad, which of course was what they played at Live Aid, and kind of stepped up their fame even more. So anyway, it had so many good songs on this record. I always really liked Promenade and how it goes into the instrumental 4th of July, and then it goes into Bad, First side with, sort of Homecoming, and then Pride is great, of course. Wire, Unforgettable Fire, Promenade. So second side starts with the kind of instrumental 4th of July and goes into Bad, and then Indian Summer Sky. Elvis Presley in America, I believe that the track was the same as, I think, A Sort of Homecoming, but slowed down. I'm pretty certain. I might have to check that. And then, of course, MLK, which featured prominently in Rattle and Hum. Yeah, they slowed the tempo down to 92 beats per minute. So, interestingly enough, it was sort of MLK was sort of like a reaction to the Albert Goldman biography of Elvis, which isn't flattering, which is kind of funny because later on he also attacked Goldman for the in God Part 2 for the unflattering biography about Lennon. So I guess Bono had quite a bone to pick with Albert Goldman as a biographer. Anyway, so those lyrics on Elvis Presley in America were pretty much improvised. So yeah, it was a sort of homecoming. The first song on the record slowed down to the beats of 92 beats per minute, and it was just sort of like a happy accident. Like Bono just was like listening to it slower and came up with these lyrics, and sort of viewed it as a rough sketch, and was gonna do a different version, but then Brian Eno thought that he liked what they captured, so they just kept it that way, And so that goes the first 4 records, and really solid first 4 years of releasing material at that point. 1984, 8 years as a band, 4 records, pretty good.